Alright, everybody. Well, we're back yet again for our first game review in a while, and this time we're doing New York Islanders versus Chicago Blackhawks on December 4th, 2022. Man, was this a boring game. I'm going to be honest, this was pretty boring. And I mean, I know Islanders hockey is pretty boring, but this was pretty dreadful. Honestly, it was one of the short... Actually, I did reach 3 pages like I usually do, but still a pretty short game relatively. But I'm not going to complain because the Islanders needed this win. Losing to Philadelphia and Nashville, they needed this win, and I'm glad they got it. Blackhawks coming off of a back-to-back after beating New York, after beating the Rangers last night. So they're coming in here against the Islanders, and the Islanders beat them. So obviously here, first period, it was Varlamov versus Soderblom. Obviously, I learned today that both goalies on Chicago are injured. I had no idea. I probably should have known that, but I actually had no clue. So, sorry, Blackhawks fans. First period, there was a Pajot shot that was stopped, and then there was a fight almost right off the bat. Cizikas versus Johnston. Very interesting, because Cizikas apparently took out Alex Stalock back in like early November, a month ago, against the Islanders. So obviously Johnston got his revenge. And also another thing, I completely forgot how many Johnsons there are on the Chicago Blackhawks. There's like Jack Johnson, there's Reese Johnston, there's so many other Johnsons on the team right now. Now I can't think of any. Tyler Johnson, there's so many. I was like, Jesus, they keep saying all these Johnsons' names. I'm like, oh my God. There was a Kurashev shot that was denied, a Martin chance that was stopped, a Wahlstrom chance that was denied, a Kurashev shot was once again stopped. So obviously, Kurashev looked pretty solid early. And honestly, the Islanders kind of looked a little bit iffy early on there. I mean, like, they were letting in golden opportunities for Chicago, but obviously Varlamov held it down. There was an uneventful back-and-forth hockey there for a little bit, and that's kind of what most of this game was. Kind of defensive play, action. I mean, there was chances on the Islanders end of things, but there really wasn't for the Blackhawks. So it was kind of uneventful. Shots were 5-2 Islanders. Noah Dobson shot wide. I don't know what happened there. There was a scrum that ensued. There was going to be penalties that were called, but there wasn't. Then there was a challenge for a high sticking that was like called off because apparently like the Blackhawks player high sticked himself. Really strange. There was a Kane chance that was denied. A Kachuk shot that was stopped. I probably said that wrong, but he looked pretty good in this game. His first name's Boris, I think. There was a Blackwell chance that was stopped. Another Dobson shot that was denied. And that was it for the first period. Goal 0-0. Shots were 10-8 in favor of the Islanders through one period of play. Now, going back to Dobson, one thing I noticed with him when I went to the game, the Flyers game, when they lost to the Flyers, was that Dobson looked very active on that blue line as a defender. And I don't think he gets enough recognition for that. I think he deserves more recognition as one of those underrated players on that Islanders blue line. 100%. Second period, there was a Kane shot that was stopped, a Pelech chance that was stopped, a Kachuk backhand hit the post, which I thought was very interesting. And then I also proceeded to write, I love the Chicago Blackhawks effort. I love the effort from the Blackhawks and that they give. And at least, like, I know they're a bad team. They're not a good team whatsoever. They lost tonight, obviously. But, like, you know, when you bring the effort, I think that at least counts for something. And I definitely appreciate that. And I've spoken the same about that as I have with Philadelphia, too. There was a Pulak shot that was stopped, a Grush shot that was denied. I never even knew this guy existed. It seems every single time I watch a game, there's a new player that comes out of nowhere, and I'm like, who are you? I had no idea who this Grush guy was. And that's saying something. Because I know almost every player. Because I literally study every team. There was a penalty here on Chicago for Patrick Kane for hooking. There was a Nelson one-timer that was stopped, a Dobson shot that was stopped. A Nelson shot was stopped again. Nelson looked very active on that power play. There was a Pajot chance that was stopped. They swapped out the units. Bavillier's shot was stopped. The penalty was eventually killed off. Here's another strange set of things. There was a Cizikas backhand that was denied, followed by a Matt Martin rebound. We'll get back to that in a second. There was an Aho shot that was stopped, a Johnston shot that was denied, and I also wrote down Soderblom playing phenomenal. And then we found out on that Matt Martin rebound, he scored. Apparently, the puck crossed the line, so, like, obviously they kept playing about 2 minutes afterwards. All those stats don't count, so the Aho shot doesn't count, and the Johnston shot doesn't count in their stats whatsoever. So those got wiped off. Refs took a look at it. Obviously, Toronto must have noticed it if the refs didn't notice it. So then they called in, and it was a goal. Matt Martin, his third of the year from nobody, and it's 1-0 Islanders. Very strange call there. We don't see that happen very often. Definitely not. There was a Pulak shot that was stopped, a Pelech shot that was stopped, a Parise shot that was stopped, and then the goals kept coming. You had a goal from Parise, his 8th of the year from Pelech and Pulak. You had a goal from Brock Nelson, his 12th of the year from Beauvillier and Lee. Beauvillier's assist on that goal was actually his 200th point of his NHL career. So a nice stat there. Then there was a penalty nearing the end of the second period. That was on Adam Pelech for high sticking. There was a Jones shot that was stopped during that penalty, and then the penalty was eventually killed off as the period came to an end. Score after 2 periods, 3-0 New York, and the shots were 32 to 14 in favor of the Islanders. The Islanders had a very impressive 22-shot period there in the second. Looked very good. When you look at the third, uneventful. Very, very uneventful. There was a Bailey shot that was stopped, a Kachuk chance that was denied, a Tay shot was stopped, a Beauvillier chance was stopped. Beauvillier looked very active in this period. He was looking for another one. He didn't get one, but he was looking. He was definitely looking. There was a Holmstrom shot that was stopped. Again, who is that? I was like, who are you? There was a Beauvillier shot that was stopped again. Then Chicago got a penalty, and it was on Athanasiou for hooking. There was a Dobson shot that was stopped between there, and the penalty was killed off. There was a Hudson Fasching shot that was denied. Kind of surprising seeing Hudson Fasching in the line. I'm like, really? Hudson Fasching? It's like surprising reunion since I haven't seen that guy play since like with the Coyotes. It's been a long time. There was a back and forth. I was like Beagle? I thought it said Beagle in my notes. It was back and forth hockey pretty much yet again. That was kind of what it was for the majority of that period, if we're being honest. There was a Parise shot that was stopped. And then there was a Domi shot that was stopped, and that pretty much did it for the period and for the game as a whole. Final score, Islanders 3, Blackhawks 0. Stats, the hits were 19-19. Penalties, Chicago was 0-1. Islanders were 0-2. So not very good there on the special teams. I remember something they actually mentioned was that the Islanders didn't have not had a 5-on-5 goal for 3 games. Because apparently they scored special teams against Philly and Nashville, which I thought was interesting. So yeah. Shots were 40-21 in favor of the Islanders. Your 3 stars of the game were Varlamov at 1, Martin at 2, which was very shocking, and Parise at 3. Also honorable mention to Arvid Soderblom. I thought looked really solid in net tonight for Chicago. And if he wasn't in net and it was some other bum goaltender, I think honestly it could have been a worser game than 3-0. That's just what I think. But yeah, anyways, let me know your thoughts on that game on the comments below. Thank you all very much for watching. For Sports Later, really do appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe down below if you're new. This will hopefully be the first of many game reviews throughout the future. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.